to see you, and would like you to just jump in and play a song. Whatever you'd like to play, we'd love to hear.
All right, this is one called Just a Couple of Blueberries. About October when it was still warm, a gal picked me up and started all the way to North Durham town, all the way to do gardens. Plants were going all around the pie, far as the eye could see. Took a look, looked like it was from the book, the book of Genesee. With a couple of blueberries, perfect for a Sunday afternoon when the winds begin to blow and the birdies begin to croon. There ain't nothing like the sun's golden rays breaking across the field. Sitting there wondering if you can pinch me, honey, 'cause I'm not sure that it's real. A couple of blueberries. Perfect for a Sunday afternoon when the winds begin to blow and the birdies begin to croon. There ain't nothing like the sun's golden rays breaking across the field. Sitting there wondering if you can pinch me, honey, 'cause I'm not sure that it's real. Sun was out shining across the grass, pines swayed in the breeze. Squirrels were climbing, sparrows were flying up to the top of the trees. Looked at the clouds drifting so slow across the sunny sky. I looked right over at you into your big blue eyes. What they look like? Like a couple of blueberries, a couple of blueberries. Perfect for a Sunday afternoon when the wind's gonna blow and the birdies gonna croon. There ain't nothing like sun's golden rays breaking across the field. Sitting there wondering if you could pinch me, honey, 'cause I'm not sure that it's real. There ain't nothing like those golden rays breaking across the field. Sitting there wondering if you could pinch me, honey, 'cause I'm not sure that it's real.
This is going to be a good show.
Is Bill an auctioneer? I just was wondering.
Bill could be. It's the first time we've had somebody play 3 guitars at once here on the show.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That's amazing.
And with metal finger picks on.
Yep.
Bill, never seen somebody do that on a 12-string in quite a while, but did that take a while to learn how to, because finger picks, they can catch up in all your strings, but you did that beautifully.
It took me a while to learn how to play with finger picks. I would say I was messing around with them for a year before it sounded good. But that was on a 6-string, and as soon as I got the 12-string, it was easy for me because,
oh, really?
Part of it's that I just have a heavy-handed playing style, so the 12-string just balances that out. Like, if I'm learning to back off on a 6-string, but usually on the 6-string, especially when I'm playing live, I dig in. So using a 12-string actually helps counterbalance that, and it pushes back, so it ends up sounding better usually.
Well, there's a beautiful 12-string. It's a Guild, and a famous maker of 12-string guitars, and really rang out, Bob and Kim. And
was sounding great.
Yep.
I got to wear the headphones. He started playing those first notes. And
your jaw dropped.
Really, and we have to mention, so I'm just going to say it. You're a sophomore at UNC?
Yes.
And you're a traditional student, so y'all, this is a young man who has just busted out with the retro music in a big way.
Wonderful old-time, really North Carolina-centric music.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear some more.
Prodigiously.
Obviously neglecting his studies to be.
I don't even care. I'm not mad about it.
I have to play this one here because we're in Hillsborough. It's good to be back in here nothing to change. You don't talk much about Hillsboro because it is out of your way. That's how I've always known. With that Hillsboro paper in your hand, you must have a Hillsboro man. There's one thing I can't understand: how us town people end up in this Hillsboro land. You know, it's good to hear from you. I start to get worried, and I'd like to see you sometime. People can't stay the same, but I won't do nothing to change. Yeah, you know I ought to steer clear of you, but I'm getting hazier eyes. Sometimes they still get so wide. Blackberry bushes right next to me, just a whisper of the breeze. There's one thing I can't understand: how us town people end up in this Hillsboro land. Now in Hillsboro, it's good to see people, you know. If only from a distance I look on right through the glass and return to myself as they pass. It's good to be back in Hillsboro. No memories chasing in tow. Nothing but plain existence, nobody to trouble me now. But I won't worry about it no how. There's one thing I can't understand: how us town people end up in this Hillsboro land.
Live here on Pass the Hat. That is your original song, right?
Yes, both of those.
We're going to edit that out of the recording because we don't want people thinking Hillsboro is a great place and moving here. I'm just kidding. Hillsboro is a great place. Just don't move here.
Bill, I was reading an article, a very interesting article on the Daily Tar Heel about you, and it said that you worked with the Music Makers Foundation.
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
Well, I'm there this summer again. I'm an intern there.
Great.
Which is what this song, how this song came about. They're based in Hillsboro, and I was working here last summer and wrote that. Yeah, it's a weirdly perfect organization to have around here because I'm interested in like roots music and a lot of like the blues kind of stuff that they work with, and I didn't actually discover it looking for a place to work. I discovered it because I started to be interested in how these traditions survived after their heyday, because a lot of blues, like the Piedmont style that I'm really influenced by, was recorded in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and then after that you kind of get a sense that the original practitioners died off and were more or less gone right after the folk revival. But I started thinking about it, and I thought that can't be true. There must be people around here who passed that music down. And I think my mom had gone to see a movie that had been done about the gospel singer Lena Mae Perry, who worked with music makers, and so she had seen that, and I was kind of just thinking out loud about that, and my mom was like, well, you should visit their website, and I did. and I thought it was fascinating. And then I ended up getting an internship there because I really love what they're doing. They work with a lot of traditional musicians and also help support them, because a lot of times traditional musicians don't really, they're not, traditional music isn't something that you usually expect of financially secure
You're
people.
not going to get rich. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not going to get rich off the music. And a lot of
What?
time, the music has roots in working class backgrounds, so it's a lot of times artists who really are traditional and are not so much commercial artists do need financial support, especially when they want to get their music out there. And I kind of came for the Piedmont blues, but I've loved all the other music that I've discovered through there, like a lot of gospel, even electric blues. I used to think I didn't like electric blues and changed my mind there. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
Interesting.
So, how did you come to be such a fan of this roots kind of music?
I think in part it was from just growing up with the parents I had. They always took me to Merle Fest, so I grew up always hearing.
Oh, great. So that was the music that was in your household growing up.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, I didn't grow up with parents who had Piedmont blues playing all the time. I grew up with maybe more contemporary stuff like Bob Dylan and Doc Watson, so I knew bluegrass, and I think the thing that was helpful also was having parents that knew about that, even if they didn't necessarily play it all the time. They played
Right.
a wide variety of stuff, but when I started getting into stuff, my dad would be like, this is what you should listen to. And I would take that and also just do my own research, reading about music, and I kind of was fascinated not only by the fact that this music was from the same area that I was from, but I just was drawn to the sound in a way I wasn't drawn to other types of music, because I guess Piedmont blues is a difficult term because there's so much blues that took place in the Piedmont.
It's pretty broad, big umbrella, yeah.
But a lot of it can be characterized. A lot of the artists tend to have more sort of ragtime, up-tempo songs, which is really what I do, which is not even blues. You wouldn't even call it blues necessarily. So it's a funny thing. I could say I play Piedmont blues, but I also, if I were around blues musicians, I would never say I played blues.
Right.
So I never really know exactly what to call the music I play. It's like all the stuff that's Piedmont blues that's not blues.
Well, so you tell them what you're going to put, what kind of music you play by playing them a song.
Yeah. Well,
which you could do right now.
Let's see. Well, I'll do exactly what I said. I'll go against myself, and I will play a blues that I did, another sort of locally themed one. And this is much more traditional blues, much more in the kind of Durham blues style. My stomach ain't settling, it will not let me be. Must be these Durham women killing me by degrees. Forgot how to eat breakfast, forgot how to live my life. Must be these Durham women making me want to lose my mind. Can't sleep no more, I wake the whole night long. Must be these Durham women make me want to be up and gone. I'm a worried fella, got worry in my heart. I love them doggone Durham women, can't keep me apart.
here. Learn all about Bill at billmoremusic.com or out on Instagram or Bandcamp. And Bill, I read that you said that you wanted to build on the traditional roots blues music without copying it. I found that sort of intriguing. So I'm not sure if I got that exactly right, but I think I have a sense of what you were talking about. So tell us a little bit about that and the journey you think you're on.
That's something I've been doing more and more because I think you have to. Well, one thing that I said in that Daily Tar Heel article, or at least I said during the interview, is that I want to relate to it honestly, which is why I don't do necessarily. I've kind of pick and choose what songs I play. I know a lot of the repertoire. And, I might not be able to play it all, but I've heard it. But I also I try to play what I honestly relate to because I don't want to just co-opt it as a style or an aesthetic. I want to just play it as music that I like to play that I think reflects my life, and that's what I do. And part of that is, changing it, and also increasingly so taking it in a different direction. I think most of what I'm playing here is probably going to be less so in a different direction because I'm here with the 12-string. I do some stuff like that song Hillsborough. You would never see something exactly like that coming out of that blues style. It merges more swing with that guitar, the sort of finger-style guitar pattern that you will find in that style of blues. But I think it's as part of being an honest artist is a part of that is finding how you relate to it personally, and it's just because you're from the 21st century and I didn't live the life that my favorite artists live. It's going to be different.
Well, you had alluded to the music that you're writing yourself, and when you were at Music Maker, you got to do some recording? Yes.
Well, it wasn't. I recorded through Music Maker. It wasn't necessarily at Music Maker. I was just asked the head, Tim Duffy, what kind of good studios do you know? Because I wanted to record my music, and he said, "Don't use a studio, just come here." So he set me up with some mics and recording the equipment he used to field record stuff, which is exactly how I wanted to record. It's just you kind of come in and there's like one mic or two mics right next to each other. So basically one mic, which is how a lot of my favorite artists would have recorded. And I just knocked them out as fast as I could, and then...
Which is exactly how they would have done it.
Yeah, took them home.
And so that's what's out there on Bandcamp?
Yes, and on all other streaming platforms.
And as you continue to write, you have plans to do more recording?
Yes, I'm trying to get something out for the fall, and then hopefully I can do more stuff. I love playing solo, but I also want to try to record with other musicians, especially in that process of, like I said, figuring out how to relate to the music honestly and do something different with it.
Well, it sounds like you're well connected now, and there are probably many, many musicians would love to have the opportunity to record with you.
Yeah, it's great sound. Can we hear some more?
Yes. Let's see. I'll do one of the ones that I'm going to record. I was feeling lonesome. I was looking for some fine company when I found myself shuffling right down to the cemetery. It was cold, wind it blowed, made me feel a little scared. I noticed a sound, I looked all around, there was music in the air. Well, I stood there in amazement. I can tell you how my eyes opened wide. Spooks all shuffling past me, they were hurrying to get on inside, with a dull man at the gateway with a top hat on his head was rattling off at his jawbone, And here are the words that he said. He said, don't be afraid, don't worry at all. Everybody's welcome at the Boneyard Ball. Back since 1927, back since 1828. Never missed a party and they never was late. And they moan till the break in of dawn. Everybody is welcome at that doggone Boneyard Ball. Saw a big parade all dancing. They were striding round like they owned the place. Faded Flossie wrapped up in white linen. Corpse Nancy wrapped up in white lace. And they swayed to that cornet, that old graveyard guitar, with a headstone for a rub boy, marked 18 and 84. Well, Miss Clark gone 1920. Talked to Mr. John who'd only just died. He gave her wilted roses that were laid last week by his wife. And a leg bone slim from Georgia walked along low to the ground. Found himself the family grave plot. I heard them all the lookers in town. He said, don't be afraid, don't worry at all. Everybody's welcome at the Boneyard Ball. Back since 1927, back since 1828. Never missed a party and they never been late. And they moan till the break in of dawn. Everybody is welcome at that doggone Boneyard Ball. Mr. Gridley waltzed with Flossie. Willie Mae was there on the side, dressed out on a long slab tombstone, drinking that blood like wine. Murdered Charlie and his brother, began to fuss, began to raise some dirt. Sister Kate got to shouting, look out, someone's about to get hurt. Well, Dead Joe had Dead Jake's leg off. Blind Sammy was dead drunk on booze. Nellie had a knife on Nancy as they swayed through them crab shooters blues. Someone called Chief McKinley, 1830 to 1899. Blew his graveyard whistle, and they all got to moaning and crying. They said, don't be afraid, don't worry at all. Everybody's welcome at the Boneyard Ball. Back since 1927, back since 1828. Never missed a party and they never been late. And they moan, yeah, moan till the break in of dawn. Everybody is welcome at that doggone Boneyard Ball. And they moan, yeah, yeah, till the break in of dawn. Everybody is welcome at the doggone Boneyard Ball.
Whoa. Bill Moore, everybody. Bill, you had a whole movie going on there, and so I mean, fascinating imagery and things.
Yeah,
so
you can see that in your head, right?
where does when you begin a song, and particularly that song, what happens? Lead us through the genesis of and how you end up with something like that.
Well, for that song, it was one of a few that began because I was in a class, a songwriting class, and I had an assignment that I had to turn in. And I was at UNC, and UNC has a fascinating graveyard that has graves dating back, I think, to the 1790s. And it's kind of near where I live on campus, and I would walk there sometimes. And at the time, I was supposed to come up with the song, and I was walking around there, and I was just always thinking about the gravestones, like what can you learn from the gravestones? What can what kind of stories are they kind of hinting at? There's a lot of fascinating things that you can get from what is said and what isn't said, like, just looking at the ages, when people died, how big their gravestone is, how small it is, who they were, if they're buried with family, if not. And it's also, there's a funny thing about graveyards is it's just a bunch of random people who are together, especially if you ever are at a graveyard, like I've been with family, where they know multiple people, especially in a smaller town, and it is the weirdest people who end up next to each other. And so that was also on my mind. But there's also, I have to give a big amount of credit to an old blues song, Dying Crapshooters Blues, for giving me the whole I borrowed a little bit of imagery, but most of it, that the inspiration from that song is just the idea of this big epic death song, which that song's about a funeral, but it's a very extravagant retelling. It's kind of like has bits of Streets of Laredo, but it's redone in this sort of 20s gambler.
So once you get it going, and does it sort of run on its own, or?
For me, rarely, but that one I spent a while on. I also spent a while tweaking the chords until it just felt right, because I think sometimes I get songs and it comes together and it doesn't feel right, and then I just want to leave it. But luckily I had an assignment due, so it forced me to sit with it, and I think that was actually, I was wary of taking a songwriting class because I always kept thinking I don't know how to write songs. And I think the number one thing I took away from it was I learned how to keep writing a song if you are not comfortable with how it's turning out.
Well, Bob and Kim, if I were the professor of this songwriting and somebody came in with that thing, I would be delighted.
Yeah, that's an A.
Yeah, I think there were some times where the professor and I were like off in chord land, and
right.
You have a spectrum of people, from people who come from a more English background, like writing, and people who don't, just strum a few chords on guitar. But there's a lot of talent that comes out of people who, I would say some of the best songs came from people who weren't super musically inclined or super into music. They weren't music majors. But yeah, there were definitely times where the professor and I were off in weird chord land, and everyone else was like, what's happening?
Interestingly, I grew up in Chapel Hill, and I know this graveyard well. I walked by and played in this graveyard for much of my childhood. But a friend of mine was walking by a few months ago, and he took a picture of a gravestone I had never even noticed, and it's about 4 feet tall, and it's a woman's name. I think her last name is Tully, and this great explanation of when she was born and when she died and entrepreneurial stuff she did. And then in the little script at the very bottom of the stone, also buried here, and it lists her husband's name.
Oh.
I thought, there is a story here. Or a song.
Yeah. Well, I think you've just given Bill his next
He's going to go troll in the graveyard.
His next prompt. Everybody, we are WHUP-LP Hillsboro, and you can find us in any number of places. WHUPFM.org would be a good one, where all the shows are listed. We've been here going on 10 years, and if you scroll down, you'll find Past the Hat and over 1,000 of our shows featuring the best of North Carolina and beyond original music. But in addition to that, we have quite a presence out there with our videos. Bob, tell everybody about those.
That's right. We live stream everything that we do live here in the studio. That's our live segment from 6:30 to 7:30 is essentially a television station. We marry high-def audio with the high-def video that we shoot here in the studio and beam it out on live streaming to your favorite live streaming services. And your favorite live streaming services are YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And you can go out there and you can watch it live right now if you're not watching it live right now. And on Facebook and YouTube, they keep the archive forever. So we've got a wonderful archive of all of these live streams that we've done, so you can go out there and consume them at your leisure.
Everybody, we are now in our second hour, and we're so fortunate to have an hour to sponsor.
Oh, that's right. Hey, Bill, that box in front of you. Support for this second hour of Past the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it, we all have chocolate needs. Every guest on Past the Hat gets a gift of chocolate from Matthews. We don't know what's in the box, but we know it's delicious. And y'all, I was just over at Matthews, and there were very few truffles because apparently a groom walked in, said, I'm getting married in 2 days, and I need to buy all of the truffles that you have.
Ooh.
Don't be that groom. Plan ahead, y'all. And thank you, Matthew. And Bill, hopefully you enjoy chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nothing. I don't like anything more than chocolate.
All right. We are now 2 minutes and 27 seconds into the second hour of the show. Bill, can you kick us off with another fine song?
All right. Let's see. I'll do my first one that's not one of my own. And this is one that I always love to do. Maybe I'll get tired of it one day, but just want everyone to know this song, and maybe that's when I'll stop, when everyone knows this song. This is one called Weepin' Willow, first recorded by Blind Boy Fuller, who was a bluesman out of Durham, and back in the day he was all the rage around here. And so for a while everyone played Weepin' Willow. There are a lot of blues people whose repertoire it crops up in, but unfortunately it's not played as much as some of his other hits, mostly Step It Up and Go. Everyone plays Step It Up and Go. But hopefully, if I play this enough, everyone will play this, Weepin' Willow. Oh, that weeping willow and that morning dove. Oh, that weeping willow and that lonesome dove. I got a gallop in the country, honey, you know I sure do love. Where there ain't no loving mama, there ain't no getting along. Where there ain't no loving mama, ain't no getting along. I got a gal who went and quit me, I don't know right from wrong. I down last night, tried to take my rest. When I lied down last night, tried to take my rest. My mind got to rambling like a wild geese in the west. Gonna buy me a bulldog, watch you while I sleep. Gonna buy me a bulldog, watch you while I sleep. Just to keep these men from making their early morning cream. You're gonna miss me, mama, some old lonesome day. You're gonna miss me, honey, some old lonesome day. But it'll be too late, I'll be gone, I'll be far away.
Bill Moore live here on Pass the Hat.
Bill, you'd shared with us that you've become steeped in roots music and Piedmont blues, and which I guess goes back to a little bit of ragtime and things like and the Durham blues tradition. But you're also out there messing around with Carolina bluegrass, which is a fairly different place to find yourself. So, how are those two things entirely distinct, or are they interrelated?
I think they're interrelated. I would treat them as distinct, though. You play it in very distinct styles. I get called, well, my normal music, ragtime blues stuff, gets called bluegrass a lot, and it always makes me a little bit upset, but it makes everyone who plays old time and gets upset about being called bluegrass. I'm like, you don't understand. You at least play something close, pretty close to bluegrass. But there is, there's connections, because a lot of the founding fathers of bluegrass grew up on they grew up in a state that played the kind of music that I'm more interested in. Flatt and Scruggs particularly, you see like Step It Up and Go, which was a Blind Boy Fuller hit, but it was also pretty common across the state, crop up in their repertoire. And you see other songs like Don't Let Your Deal Go Down, which goes back to Charlie Poole, is also found in a lot of like black guitar traditions across the across this part of this part of the country. So I would say this comes before bluegrass, what I play, but I think the repertoire and some of the, I guess, chord language influence bluegrass, but it's definitely not the same. Definitely don't play it anywhere near the same.
Well, UNC has a fairly robust bluegrass thing going on over there. Tell us just a little bit about that group.
Well, they have the Carolina Bluegrass Band, which is an official music ensemble. I get music credit for it, which is great. And they also have lessons through the school. I'm taking bluegrass banjo lessons right now. And it's a great community. I feel like that is one of my favorite parts of it, is because I was kind of, like I said, even though this music I play gets confused for bluegrass a lot, in my mind they're totally distinct. So I was actually somewhat unsure about joining the bluegrass band because I wasn't even sold on if I really liked the bluegrass at first, and then I came to really like it through playing it, and I really liked all the people I met. There are a lot of people who are interested in all kinds of roots music for different reasons and from different backgrounds, but we can all come together and play music together, and it's really fun. And we play a lot outside of the official class ensemble. We'll meet up at someone's house, play after our concert, different things like that.
Nice. Well, everybody, we are here with Bill Moore, and again, you can learn all about Bill, BillMooreMusic.com, or out on Bill Moore Music on Insta or on Bandcamp. Bill, you have any gigs coming up?
I'm going to play Beer and Banjos in July.
Excellent.
I can't remember the exact date, but I'll be posting about that a bunch, I'm sure, and if I get any more coming up.
So people need to follow you on Instagram at Bill
Yes.
Moore Music to
Yes.
find out where you're playing,
Yes, that would be a great idea.
right?
Or you can just hang around now because we've got another song coming
We
up
got more music coming
right
up.
away.
Let's see. Now I've reached the point where I've forgotten what I was supposed to play.
Well, show's over.
Let's see. I'll do another one. I like to try to mix it up, and I don't want to just play the album I put out, so I'm going to do another one that I haven't really put out properly, but a few people have heard this one. Well, I'll tell you my trouble, it's a bad trouble too. I got a one-track mind, mama, and it lead to you. I'm praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind. Well, I'll tell you my problem, and it's just the way I am. I put my hopes on you, just like a gambling man. I'm praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind. And I swear I ain't got no spine. Only thing that makes me stand up is that doggone gal of mine. I'm praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind. Well, like lightning when you smile, it's like thunder when you walk, it's electric. Mama, when you talk, I'm praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind. you my trouble, it's a bad trouble too. I got a one-track mind, mama, and it'll lead to you. I am praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind. Well, I'm happy when I'm single, and single is enough. Well, I ain't never satisfied until I'm blue and in love. I'm praying on this one-way line. Say, baby, I can get you off of my mind.
More Bill Moore live here in the studio. Learn more at billmooremusic.com. Bill, folks hopefully know now where they can go find more of your music because we know they're liking it so much. But if they want, you've mentioned a couple of times some of your musical heroes, and you mentioned Blind Boy Fuller. What should people go look into if they wanted to dive deeper into this genre of music? What sort of people should they look up? What names?
Well, for my style of guitar playing specifically, I would say the big four are Reverend Gary Davis, Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Blake, Blind Willie McTell. Not of all time, just those are the four who have influenced my playing the most. Gary Davis is the one who is really, I look to him. If I ever am like, how do I make this cool? I just think, what would Gary Davis do?
WWGDD.
Yeah, I need to get that on a shirt. I have a lot of the rhythms I play are much more Blind Boy Fuller, Blind Blake style. I'll be a nerd and show you what I'm talking about.
Yes,
This
please.
is what I love to think. Like Gary Davis would play that song probably straight like this. Rhythmically, he would be doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, I don't know. Like that comes, if I ever do that, that's straight from Gary Davis, whereas Blind Blake has this more. That like ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom is a Blind Blake kind of thing, and I think Blind Boy Fuller does that. And Gary Davis does it occasionally, but he usually plays it straight a little bit more, even though he still has a lot of swing to it. He just doesn't have that ka-dunk, ka-dunk, ka-dunk. I think I've heard it called rolling your bass when you do that kind of thing. So it really comes from all sorts of places, I guess. One thing that doesn't have anything to do, more to some extent with the music I play, that's a great start if you want to get into American roots music, is the Anthology of American Folk Music. I'm sure it's available as a Spotify playlist. I think it is because I've recommended it to people. I got the CDs from my parents, but it'll help you realize how weird American music is.
It's very diverse.
Yeah. And Blind Willie McTell also, I think he might be the most accessible to if you've never listened to this kind of music and you like what I play and you don't like the idea of listening to records that sound like that, or Gary Davis when he's super, like when he's 75 and playing this really spacey, crazy stuff, then Blind Willie McTell's last session, I think is on all streaming services, is a great starter album, I would say.
Do you ever listen to the Asylum Street Spankers?
Nope.
I would recommend that you do, because they also took this music and made a living as a band for quite a long time, playing this style of music with the washboards and also creatively going into their own direction on it, which is exactly what you're doing. I would highly recommend you listen to them.
As soon as you said that, I recognize there's some strong overlap there.
I think so. I would recommend you check them out.
I think I might have heard of him now that I think about it.
Yeah, so Whammo, full disclosure, Whammo is a friend of mine. He was the lead singer and one of the organizers of the band. And then Guy Forsyth is still around playing guitar. And of course, they've had their payroll, but Stan Smith is out there playing clarinet still, but definitely check them out. I think you would love them. I do. What we're loving is your music, and I hope you play some more of it.
All right. I'll go through. I'll play. This is one I did the first semester when I was at the bluegrass band that I had written. And then this one is much more. When I'm getting nerdy about the rhythm. I'm usually am not super conscious of rhythm. I just feel it, and now I'm trying to be more conscious of it now. So now I'm noticing it everywhere. But this is a rhythm. This kind of the rhythmic basis for this and the picking style is way more influenced by old time music than blues. There's not really much swing. It's this very straight driving rhythm that I would say for me comes from Charlie Poole, who's a North Carolina banjo player. But anyway, I did this with the Carolina Bluegrass Band, so a bunch of people from UNC. I've still had people come up to me and be like, "You did that song that one time that you wrote," because most, hardly anyone does original music in that, so it stood out to people. So this is called "Oh Honey." When you forget things, I'll remember. The leaves are changing like burning embers. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Play that music that Willie McTell, all them songs that you sing so well. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Don't go bucking like a Georgia mule. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Let's go out walking, let's run and hide. We both can go out, let's stay behind. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Take this hammer, take it to the captain. I'd say we're leaving, but that won't happen. No, honey, you be the death of me. Please be gentle now, don't be cruel. Don't go bucking like a Georgia mule. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Busy, it's hard to stand it when you aren't with me. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Play that music that Willie McTell, all in songs that you sing so well. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Please be gentle and don't be cruel. Don't go bugging like a Georgia mule. Oh, honey, you be the death of me. Please don't wake me and don't deceive me. Oh, don't waylay me. Don't ever leave me. Oh, honey, you be the death of me.
Wanted to bet Bill wrote that after the double espresso.
There was
awesome.
a lot of picking going on in that song.
Yeah, sometimes I was playing it the other day to make sure I had it together, and I was like, why did I write this the way I did? I thought I was
Because it was fun.
Yeah. I thought it was so cool writing it in B flat, and now I'm like, I don't think that was a good idea.
But I can hear the bluegrass ensemble playing that, and with mandolin on top and a little banjo in there. I can see that being a whole lot of fun to play and listen to.
Yeah, it was hard to play it by myself after that.
Uh-huh.
And that was the only song I'd written that really worked at the time. Maybe still, that really gelled with the bluegrass style.
You alluded to when I learned to play this kind of music, and in your bio on your website, it says you practice 3 hours a day, or maybe in the Daily Tar Heel, he practices for 3 hours a day, people,
That's
or
how
at least you try
good.
to. And my question is, how did you were very intentional about learning this. This didn't just magically happen. Like, did you find a YouTube video? What happened? This is amazing.
Well, I've been trying to learn that myself. The way I came to it is I already knew how to play guitar when I learned to play this. I had years of lessons with a kind of just general being good at guitar background. So a lot of jazz, classical. I had a teacher who was really good, who I think just exposed me to a lot of different things and just see what kind of stuck. Like, started out with kind of classical, just make sure you know where the notes are, which helps, and using kind of classical technique. And then after I made my way through beginner, the beginner guitar book, I got to do whatever I wanted. So at the time it was like, I don't know, just classic rock songs that I heard because I was a kid.
Wait a minute, you got to do whatever you wanted? Who gave you that permission?
Good teacher.
I don't know.
Yeah, good teacher, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, it might not have been whatever I wanted. Whatever I was able to play. Whatever. But he would help me learn different. I would just bring in a song and he would help me learn. And then once I got more advanced, it started being more like jazz. Jazz was, I almost want to say that I learned jazz guitar because that's where I felt most at home, and I think that really translates to my way of playing. Because jazz guitar takes you away from the classical influence on note reading and puts you in more of this feel world, but it also puts you up the neck in a way that a lot of blues players don't do. And one of the reasons I like Reverend Gary Davis, because he does do it, but he I don't think ever plays an E flat unless he's tuned down, and I play in E flat, like Oh Honey's in B flat. I put these weird jazz keys, but this is a long way of saying I already knew how to play guitar when I started listening to this music, and it kind of crept in. I think I tried to learn different songs. The first fingerstyle song I learned actually was from sheet music. We got one in a class, and I'd been trying to teach myself how to fingerpick. And I already hated reading sheet music. I never liked reading sheet music, but I was just finally, from reading it, I was able to figure out how to play it, and it was Hey Hey by Bill Brunzi. So I was able to get the syncopation of you're not playing everything at the same time. And that was how, because I had already tried to do it so much before then, that was kind of a breakthrough moment, because I remember when I did it, the teacher said, you have the best thumb independence in the class. And I learned that. And then over the pandemic, I taught myself Deep River Blues by Doc Watson using a combination of things, but mostly from just slowing down a video of him playing. And then that allowed me to kind of be able to pick up other stuff. And the thing was, once I could pick up other stuff, I started going fast and I didn't pay attention to what I was actually playing. So recently I've been stepping back and I was, thinking, I think I know how to play this song, but I need to go back and listen and figure out, do I really know how to play it? Like that song, Weepin' Willow, that I played earlier, I probably played something, I was playing it a while and I was thinking I was doing a great job. Like, I can't remember how I was playing it. When it's really, totally different rhythmic feel, totally different where you place the notes. I had the notes right, but it wasn't. I was playing it like Doc Watson was playing it. So the blues feel kind of crept in steadily, just mostly probably through listening, and then from slowing down recordings and learning.
You mentioned a couple of times playing in B flat. Maybe I missed it, but I don't think I've seen you tune one time tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Did you bring in just a bunch of songs to play in the same tuning? Or have you tuned and I wasn't paying attention?
Oh, no, I play all in standard.
Okay.
Which people think blues is not all in standard, but Piedmont's, the kind of ragtime stuff is all usually standard, and then my hero Gary Davis was an all standard guy, and I think because I came from a background with like jazz and stuff where I played all standard, when I found that out, I was like, well, I'm never gonna have to learn to open tuning. I can mess around with them because I've listened to so much that I can kind of figure out what people do, but I really stick with standard. I can't do anything fancy. I can just play like a simple slide melody or something if I ever am in open.
Well, Bill Moore, we've enjoyed our time with you tremendously. We have time for just one more song, whatever you'd like to bring us home with. We can't wait to hear it.
This is one that I heard recently. Well, I didn't hear it recently. We've probably all known this one all our lives, but this is one I heard a great arrangement of recently by Tar Heel Slim. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine.
You have been listening to Bill Moore. We're going to run back and get him some ice packs for his hands. And in the meantime, while we do that, we're going to start your playlist. Do you remember the first song?
Beans.
See, you're like the first person in 6 months who knows the first song.
And
All
we're
right.
also going to end the playlist and wave goodbye.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're going to turn off the camera there.
Y'all listening and watching on the playlist, the show doesn't end. You can listen on WHUPFM.org to hear the rest of this playlist that Bill brought in for us.
Thank you, Bill.